Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Today I'm going to tell you about a tool that changed my life, and I'm confident can absolutely help you whether you're unfaithful or betrayed. It's a tool developed by Dr. Dan Siegel, who is a phenomenal psychiatrist who introduced the tool called Name It to Tame It. What that talks about is until we can name, and not just name, but honestly name, and I'll share more about that in a minute, but when we can honestly name what we are feeling, we can tame it or corral or help control our feelings. This will be incredibly helpful for you, the betrayed, but for you, the unfaithful, that will really absorb this and listen to this and try and put this into your toolbox, you can absolutely help your betrayed partner soothe and regulate their emotions and help bring them to a place of safety. I know flooding can be awful. Triggers and reminders and intrusive thoughts. And when the betrayed flood, some kind of go off the rails. Some, you would look at them and externally they're fine, but internally they are in incredible chaos and overwhelming emotion and pain and hurt. So this tool can help both of you. Okay, we have to do a quick science lesson. I'm not a scientist. I just pretend to be one a couple of days a week here in the studio. But there's two brains. We have the upstairs brain and we have the downstairs brain. The upstairs brain is called the prefrontal cortex. That's the reasoning. That's the understanding brain. That is the brain that absorbs information in a very reasonable, understanding, intelligent way. Then we have a downstairs brain. That's the limbic system. And in there, that's fight or flight or freeze. It's the more passionate, it's the more reactive part of our brain. And we need both. We need both the upstairs and the downstairs brain to work for us to function as the magnificent human beings that we are. When we, unfaithful or betrayed, hit this point where our emotions are seemingly out of whack, when we are starting to maybe flood or trigger or just lose it, and when we start to feel this way, we can begin to get overwhelmed. We can lash out, and there's all this fodder, right? There's this, I'm just angry, mad, somebody made me mad, and we just become these kind of raging individuals. And when you're trying to heal from infidelity, the more that you can find a way to self-soothe, the more powerful you will be over yourself, the more that you can help yourself, ground yourself, and be able to keep yourself in a little better sense of peace and rest. This is more than just use your words, use your words. But this is a component to being able to help you when you start to feel this in emotional distress, or you start to flood, or you start to really kind of lose it. See if you can honestly name what you're feeling. Well, you're just mad about this. Okay, well, hold on. Name your feelings honestly. What are you feeling? Well, I feel anger, or I feel hurt, or I feel X, Y, or Z. When you can name your feelings, it actually starts to bring the upstairs brain back online. When you start to name your feelings and you really start to name what's going on, it actually starts to help the prefrontal cortex, the upstairs brain, send soothing neurotransmitters to the downstairs brain as well as to the body and to your whole sense of being to help you start to regulate yourself. When you can start to name what you're feeling, not just on the exterior and not just kind of surface level, but you go deeper and you start to name what's really going on, it can bring your reasoning faculties back online and it can help you self-soothe, and it sends these neurotransmitters back to your downstairs brain that says, hey, we're okay. Hey, we're going to be all right. We can get back to functioning the way that we need to function. This will help us stop blaming, lashing out, attacking, weaponizing our emotions against our partner. And so here's a few ways to honestly name your feelings. Number one, go deeper. Just because you're angry doesn't mean that that's the totality of what you're feeling. Oftentimes, anger can be a secondary emotion because maybe you feel hurt, or you feel betrayed, or you feel wounded, or you feel abandoned. And so going deeper into what you're feeling is going to be essential. Next is, you're going to probably have to retreat away from your partner to do this, and that's okay. Listen, you're going to upset some people. On the journey of recovery for yourself, unfaithful or betrayed, you're going to disappoint some people, you're going to frustrate some people, you're going to make some people angry. That's okay. You have to do what's best for you to help you heal. You have to do what's best for you. And if that means that you need to retreat and be able to identify your feelings and identify the deeper issues that you're experiencing, if you need to name it in order to tame it, and that upsets some people, so be it, because you are the keeper of your own mental health. They can deal with it because you are taming your emotions and taming the trauma that you are experiencing. Number three is probably the hardest one. It's also the longest one. Number three says that oftentimes when there are these over-the-top reactions, when we are experiencing this $1,000 reaction to a $50 experience, not that infidelity is a $50 experience, not saying that, but what I'm saying is throughout moments of the day, something pretty small or a word or two can cause us to have these enormous reactions. And so when that's happening, it can usually be indicative that there is a loss that we have not grieved. It's especially true when you're dealing with trauma survivors who have been through enormous amounts of trauma. When they have not been able to properly grieve what happened to them, or grieve what they experienced internally, or just grieve how they responded to it, there is usually these pretty significant reactions. Anger, rage, depression, what have you. It's essential that you begin to explore, have I properly grieved this experience? Have I properly grieved not just infidelity and betrayal, but developmental trauma? When there hasn't been awareness and a sense of grieving, we have this fireball inside of us. Does that mean that you go disappear for 6 months to grieve? Not at all. Does it mean that you get expert help to grieve? Without question. Does it mean that you are going to have to go get help to know how to do this properly? Absolutely. But it's a picture of the fact that there is grief work that must be done. Finally, and this is kind of extra credit, if you really want to go above and beyond, if you really want to use this tool, if you're an unfaithful, one of the best things that you could do when your betrayed partner starts to flood or has these significant moments of pain and distress is being safe enough to go, what do you think you're feeling right now? Do you think that's surface, or do you think what's the deeper emotion? Well, I feel anger and rage. Okay. What's a little bit deeper? Why? I feel abandoned. Okay. Good. Is there anything else? I feel like this reminds me of when I was young. We're getting somewhere. Or maybe it is just that you feel abandoned and that you feel thrown away. Okay. What else are you feeling? Now, you can go a step further, unfaithful, if you have the guts to do it, and try and show some empathy and say, well, honey, you probably feel this, right? Or that reminder, that trigger, you hearing the affair partner's name, probably made you feel this. Well, it made me feel more than that. Well, what else did it make you feel? And slowly but surely, you might be able to help ground your partner and the betrayed in this scenario is helping to ground themselves. Now, sometimes the unfaithful may trigger and lose their mind, shall we say, and that's an opportunity for the betrayed to maybe try and help them as well. Now, this is not a magic recipe. This is not a cure-all to just absolutely say, just do this and everything will be great. It's just a tool. But if you can name it, if you can name what you're feeling honestly, vulnerably, you can move towards taming it. I hope that you can use this tool. I hope it helps both of you, because I'm confident if you can continue to find more and more tools to help self-soothe, you're going to find greater peace and greater joy. And you'll be more, shall we say, you'll be proud of yourself for the hard work that you're doing for yourself.